if you can convince people of this sort of thing, what if something does happen? What if, let's say, what if Jesus returns and speaks? And then what? The people that are capable of high-level critical thinking go, U.S. patent 339-3279, voice-to-skull technology. This is what's happening. You know what I mean? Like,
which is basically what happened with this report, is that the FBI claims they're now going to open this internal investigation into whether its own agents obstructed, quote, politically sensitive cases, including the cover-up of the Anthony Weiner laptop. So I think, okay, well, that could be political cannon fodder in terms of Hillary Clinton and Uma Abedin. Hey, look, the Democrats are pedophiles too, you know, and it could at least sort of help save face at a minimal way in terms of Trump himself and how they kind of continue forward during this current. Right.
I'll tell you what, though, these moments, as obvious as it is that it's obfuscation and it's furthering the political cultural divide and all these things that we talked about here, just dipping my foot on Facebook indicates it worked really, really, really well. So well, dude. Like it's incredible that nobody, I thought for sure some of the arguments that I got in, the appeal to like, hey, conservatives are not that much better than the left. I think that the left is very wrong and conservatives are in a slightly better place than them, but ultimately they're both retarded because the game that's being played is political espionage. It's engineering revolutions, it's obfuscation, it's smoke screens, it's fog of war, it's all of this stuff that goes way over the general public's head. And I thought, well, for sure, saying both sides are retarded and that the, whatever you want to call them, the elites are playing you as a fool and pitting you against one another would garner some, and not sympathy to my plight, but at least like okay, go on. And it was deaf ears. In fact, they thought that was retarded. And I go, oh my God, how far have we come? I thought we were making progress. I live in an echo chamber.
It's so multi-layered and sophisticated. It's like, that's why I'm glad that we have, we had like this sort of, it's almost beautiful. And when we should, I don't know how we're even going to release the William Ramsey one, but like in tandem, William Ramsey to set the table. And then this episode here.
This is like part 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to our friend Matt at the coffee shop. I'm trying to explain to him, he's like, how do you really think like Israel? And I'm just like, man, it's a lot crazier than you think. There's a lot more history to understand, and just like even current history that you just don't see. So it's like, but this episode serves as a really good starting point for people interested.
I think so.
But it's still hard.
Jack Burton says Facebook is boomer psyop land. Dude, I'm talking to millennials. They're spiritually boomers. I know that, but like I'm talking to millennials. We grew up with punk rock, right? And which was anti-establishment and anti-government and anti-corporation and anti-big bank. These were the things that's the music that we grew up on, was spreading that sort of a message. And now somehow we've come to this place where unironically it's gay and retarded to look at the government as if, and it's like, obviously you have to have more nuance in that. What are we talking about? The government, even that is like, we're not talking about the guys that fix the roads, but like, let's just use round terminologies that everybody can understand. The government doesn't give a about you and is happy when you fight in the mud amongst yourselves so that they can continue with whatever run-of-the-mill corruption they have planned, right? We can understand that. No, we can't. Conservatives are gay is what I'm getting on Facebook. Well, they don't say gay because they're not fun. They're like, you want to be cucked for conservatism. It's like, you don't have anything to conserve, you childless, jobless faggot. Right. And your entire thing is just caught up in being so full of disdain for the world that never went your way because you were born ugly, whatever.
Yeah, but look, now we're caught in that conversation.
Well, yeah, because it's like, first I have to shame you,
but I'll
you have to identify what you are, and then I have to say, hey, but we're playing the wrong game.
I've got to have, like, I can't even have the conversation that Austin's having, because I have to have this conversation. This is how jammed up.
You got to lower yourself to engage with this really bad, obvious bullshit idea first. And then once we've done that, now I can bring you up here above the water a little bit.
I don't even know if we have to, but it's kind of like, yeah, I guess if you
No, you don't have
wanna-
to. You're absolutely correct. You don't
if
have
you want
to.
to live next to these people, you have to. But it's crazy.
It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating because it is. You're like trying to, you almost have to just drop a whole segment of the population, because in order to try to appeal to them, you have to like first convince them that you understand the game they're playing. And then once you understand it and you lay it out for them enough, then you can be like, but look, there's a game above it. And it's wasted time.
It's wasted time.
It's wasted time. And it sucks, but you got to just drop them. And I just think it's crazy because we're talking about, like I said, millennials. What are we doing here? The programming, the MK Ultra.
We're waiting for the next psyop. That's all. I mean, that's what I feel like. We're just talking about it, and we're just like, well, what's the next one going to be? I'm kind of interested in the story at this point, but this episode is
it's brought to you by MK Ultra.
Deep. It's deeper than every time he comes on. We reach a new level of seriousness that I didn't think was possible before.
Yeah. It's all.
Austin's describing what I think is the actual battle, but there still has been there's been multiple micro battles that they've laid out in front of you. This is a big one.
It's a big one.
Whether it's true or not, the idea of the shooter or the adjacent shooter is moving forward, and the divide between the left and the right is moving forward. There's nothing
almost fully parted now.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do about it. We can actually like debunk this and say if somebody was the actual killer, or listen, this guy could have very well been the actual killer, but it
almost doesn't matter because you can't these kids.
Yeah, then we have to get into the discussion of mind control techniques and who's behind that, and you will never find that out. There is no reliable way to know that.
And then good luck even spreading that information if you did figure it out.
Right.
Spread that information, beat the cultural wave that's coming. Right. I don't think you can. What do you think about that, Austin? When watching Sam Hyde and he's saying, and I know you're in California, get a gun. Don't engage in this kind of rhetoric on the internet, like, FAFO, like around and find out. Don't engage in the calling people Karen.
It's fascinating stuff as far as.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like you've got to, from an early age, he's experienced some sort of trauma that created a state of disassociation, and then he's experiencing demonic possession or demonic oppression, and the medical industry dismisses it as a chemical brain and whatever. Just he's broken. There's just something wrong with him. It's like, man, always
for the audience that's all gonna listen to that doesn't want to hear about this, like about demonic oppression and possession. I've been struggling with this idea myself that like if we do have these technologies that work in the same way as demonic possession or oppression, like who's to tell the difference at this point? But I do think that the technology is the same. I think that people who are inhabited by demons, let's say in the day of Jesus, they're able to inhabit a certain frequency in someone's brain. And I don't know if they can control their thoughts, but they can definitely invade. And now you just have, somebody from the CIA that's like, hey, man, do this. It's like there is no difference in the technique. I guess that maybe the messenger, but who's like asking this messenger to do that? That's a different question.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We have to get comfortable with that idea. Crazy.
Look, before we go any further, though, we gotta kick these poor people out, guys. If you want to continue watching this episode, patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. Otherwise, wait for it to come out in its entirety in about a week. Goodbye.
Crack. Where are we at? Flat Earth.
Flat Earth. Is the Earth flat, Crack?
I doubt it.
Reasonable man. I go back and forth.
I thought I liked this guy.
I do, though. I go back and forth. What's the matter? Are your eyes not enough for you, Crack? You can't look around and
no, I don't know either. I go back and forth depending on the last person I spoke to. I'm like, it might be flat, but like that goes into the idea of simulation theory. Where are we at with that? The Matrix kind of stuff.
Oh, that is, and this might be the same as the flat Earth thing. I feel like I just don't have enough information or knowledge to make a decision. I'm kind of just open to either side of the possibility. I'm agnostic to these things.
This is reasonable. All right. Something that I think everybody
we've landed a reasonable guess. It's bizarre.
I know we don't.
I'll go ahead and give you one. I'll give you one. Moon landing, I 100% think was not real.
Okay, we can
There we
work with
go.
that.
That's this is.
I'll go ahead and
we
give
got
you
some
one
clay on the
off the
table.
bat.
Aliens, faking or real.
Dude, and again, this is like not based on any knowledge. It's just my feeling. I think they're out there. Don't know if we've come in contact with them lately. All the Egyptians back in the day, maybe something going on there, but like lately, I don't think so.
Have you not seen, Crack, that NASA is telling us that 3i Atlas is a gigantic craft and will be here in November?
He's making a rap about it.
You're making a 3i Atlas rap?
It would slap, though.
It would slap, honestly. I was like, damn, dude, I'm interested. So they're saying that this is NASA in the New York Post. It's a reputable news publication, are saying that a gigantic craft the size of Manhattan is coming here. I'm telling you, you can look this up. This is something that they're making articles about. They're saying it's hostile, and they're saying that come October 30th, Halloween Eve, it's going to cross in front of the sun and release drones that are going to look like UFOs to us. This is what the New York Post and NASA are saying. Anna Paulina Luna.
No, Halloween Eve.
Halloween Eve.
Yeah.
Anna Paulina Luna is saying that, and Abby Loev, who is a reputable man, and there's nothing to be suspicious of there. And how dare you suspect otherwise?
And Paulina Luna also. See, I don't want to be that guy though. That they're constantly like, oh, this guy's talking about the Jays. He's like, wait, what?
So there's a spacecraft coming, and it's getting here on Halloween.
It is passing in front of the sun on Halloween Eve. And
they also know it's angry.
They know it's malicious. They literally said it's hostile. And
pull a picture of
I'm telling you, bring up the
Nancy,
picture, bring up the article.
Picture, please.
Nancy, please produce it.
How do they measure the hostility? What's the
again, they put a palm out and they go, yeah, that shit's mad.
It's like, that looks pretty angry. And then they go, looks like it's gonna drop some drones. Listen, I don't know, but they do. And they're bombarding us with this stuff. And we're so busy with geopolitics and other shit going on that we're like, I just don't really have time.
I'm just saying, Crack, it's probably something you should be preparing for. To me, that the fact that you didn't know this is it's alarming.
I had no idea. I'm going to start watching this show. I don't know why I wasn't. I need to stay informed.
We're going to you up right now. Did you know that? I mean, you better watch all this, because we're going to have the rapture on the 23rd of
the
January.
20. That's 7 days.
7 days.
No, it's September. 7 days from now, we're going to have the rapture.
Did you know that?
I haven't even started packing. This is crazy.
I don't know if you have to, because I think when you get raptured, it's naked.
Yeah, I mean, it's a spiritual thing.
It's kind of a big fear of mine, is that like I'll have to be whisked up naked.
This is healthy for us though, Dave, because like we're dealing with somebody with like we deal with people when we speak to them, they go, yeah, we know about
They're
that.
like worse off than we are.
So like, I don't know what kind of shit are you seeing?
Wait,
like,
so does anybody know the exact like time down to the minute that the rapture's happening? Because I would like to jump up a little bit before.
No man knows the day or the hour, Crack. So but what we do have is a 2-day period, the 23rd to the 24th, which is the Feast of Trumpets.
This is 3i Atlas, and you can tell that it's angry because of all the colors, I suppose.
Yeah, those are that universal.
The color right there.
We got a little LGBTQ flag.
They're gay, and they're coming.
So yeah, we got a 2-day period. I don't know what time it's going to be, but I don't know. You're just supposed to stand outside for about a 24-hour period.
It helps if you look directly at the sun. Mm-hmm. That's what I've heard. Mm-hmm. No, I don't know. Listen, man, people like to make dates. There is some corresponding information with like the Feast of Trumpets landing on the same day and other biblical scripture. I'm not putting a day on it. This is what people are saying. Like half the internet is scared. If they're like, if you're plugged into this, they're looking at it.
Yeah.
And it's just funny that like we don't like there's another half that's just like doesn't give a
no, they don't.
That hasn't heard of it.
And it sounds nice.
I'm just trying to like say what I think in a manner that is palatable to people. So like with a little bit of sugar, you know what I mean? And let people hear it, and maybe that'll plant a seed and they can think about it. But the internet's a big place. That gets out and people see it. You've gone viral a bunch of times. So, you know.
Try to pick sides in history. And this is one of the great things about it, is it's difficult to pick sides. You have to think about the issue more objectively. Like what does left right really mean? What is populist versus, centralized or aristocrat really mean. So yeah,
These-
but I think we're in a different situation today.
Yeah, the titles change, the motives change, but the direction doesn't. It seems like the period of Rome that we were describing was a democracy that's sort of corrupt, falling apart, and then it turns into a monarchy. I've been actually like a couple of years ago thinking about and been sympathetic to the idea of monarchy because I'm like, it just seems better. Seems like it makes more sense because there's one guy, and when he messes up, you can cut his head off. But there's also one guy at the top, and then when he declares himself God, this gets very messy too.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas democracy, what we have now, it's a God that has already failed. I mean, it's just falling apart on the edges everywhere. People still defending it. I'm just kind of like, but we're not going to vote our way out of this. They've cornered the system of and people's minds and forget about. I'm wearing a shirt right now that says MK Ultra Dolphins. It's about John C. Lillian. If you want to get into conspiracy and MK Ultra and pharmaceuticals and how people's, just like people are out of their minds, literally out of their minds. We cannot meaningfully have a democracy under these conditions. And
well, that's, not only the things that are in the food, if you want to get super conspiratorial, or the frequencies, but just the propaganda machine, the media in general, what it's been feeding people at scale. We're probably the most sedated populace in the history of the world. And we are plugged into the media like no other generation before us. And we're just being fed propaganda, especially I say that this is aimed predominantly at women and children, but more predominantly at women. If you
they're the consumer market, they're doing like 80% of the purchases and making all these financial decisions. So that's who you're going to target. Then the next thing you do is appeal to their better nature, which is like, oh, don't you want things to be nice?
And that's that weaponized empathy thing I was talking about on Facebook, where they've taken things like empathy and tolerance and they've weaponized us or weaponize them against us. And it's like you are being made to be empathetic and tolerant to things that are corrosive to not only, your well-being, but your children's well-being. And so, a lot of this enters by way of women's media.
It damages them because they're like the eye of Sauron, of propaganda. Sauron is like on them because it's
on them. And the only remedy I think we need to bring back is women. all right, fine. It's too far. But no, there is. It's so obvious to me. You just put it perfectly. The eye of Sauron, the most sophisticated propaganda machine in the history of humanity, is aimed at women.
It's a crazy thing too. With my wife, she's very much the same way. She's like sensible. As a matter of fact, if she didn't understand what I was like, because I'm constantly telling her, I'm like, look at this. If she didn't understand the propaganda, she would probably just omit like voting or omit even understanding politics at all. Because like she's like, I'm worried about my kids, and it's like, well, that's your archetypal role. Like you've embodied that correctly.
Yeah.
The problem is that we've asked you now to go out and do more, but with her, there's a thing that I sense constantly where I'm like, if I don't like continue to red pill her, if I just like let her go,
it would. You got to keep reeling them back in.
No, but because the Eye of Sauron is completely on them.
Yes, it
and
is.
It's hard to resist if you're being bombarded with this nonsense. Where after a while, you're like,
that's you, right? But I mean, like you have you've cut yourself out, property here, and you've got your family unit together, and you're really focused on that. Most people are drowning in debt. Most people have they make not enough money, so both parents have to go out into the workforce, which means the state is raising your child, right? And so most family units are dispersed.
Most people will tell you politics is not important, and I agree in a sense. But then when you look at because the politics is paying attention to you right now, and it's moving you,
it's aimed at you.
It's aimed at culture, and it's gonna touch you. So if you're not paying attention to it, it's gonna ruin your family. And in 2020, I know a bunch of people who like either they're divorced or they have disaffected marriages now, just with one thing that happened there, one major difference that was never spoken about, an ideological framework that was never fleshed out within their marriage, ripped it apart. And it's like, well, you're not playing your roles, and it's hard to say these things to people. Because it's hurtful. It's like I had a conversation. But in some ways,
it's like it's hard to say them, and the longer we wait, the harder it gets. And we should have been saying this 10 years ago.
Well, I don't know if I'm even doing the right thing, but I had a conversation with my daughter at 7 years old about the WNBA, and she's 7 years old, and I'm like, I have to explain the economic ramifications of when you insert. It's crazy. Why the do I got to explain this to a little kid? But I'm like, hey, that's actually, this is propped up and funded by the NBA, a place that people pay for. So these women are now performing and dedicating their lives to a sport that
doesn't exist without.
They don't really want to see it. And now I'm the bad guy because I'm like, but I'm not the guy I'm not buying the tickets either. But nobody is.
Everybody gets mad at me when I buy a ticket and I show up and I throw it on the court. And
I don't want my family or my friends or the people I'm talking to take part in the delusion, because it is a delusion. It's an economic delusion saying like there's a viable market for this. It's like there is not. If it was just on them to rent these stadiums and broadcast it, it wouldn't exist, because there is no market response for this. But the delusion is there, and then people take that and they snowball that, and God knows where that leads if you let them buy into that one delusion. And my daughter's like, I go, this is actually not good. And she's like, well, I'm a girl. And I was like, I know, but let's sit down. I got to explain this to you. This is going to be hard. But it's like, this is the times we're living in. And if you let people get away with it, then you eventually look back, you lose your family. And it's like, where are we at?
So I think all of that is to ask, like, how hard should we be them? Like really hard, or just a little hard, like open hand or closed hand? I don't know what the rules are anymore.
With logic, with facts and logic, right?
All right.
With rhetoric. With rhetoric. That's how you change people's minds.
Well, your example with your wife, Lobster, it's like, now we have their natural inclination. The natural inclination of most women, if they have kids, is to like raise their kids, like be good mothers. But now there's an ideological incentive for somebody to come along and say, oh, is that what your husband tells you you're good for? Is that all you're good for?
You hit her too.
Tell you that? Yeah.
No, you point out that person is a single mother.
There you go. I was just gonna say, point out that's why she's single.
It's happened many times. And if I'm not to brag about myself, but I have some self-worth. If I wasn't good at what I do, yeah, my wife could fall subject to that propaganda. But I'm like, hold on a second. I hear what she's saying, but all of her relationships have never worked out. So let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just move that. Like, that's rhetoric, right?
Yeah. Then just look at the fruits. Look at the fruits of their life. Yeah.
We've lost that sense of, all right, you have to restrain yourself and you have to actually think through your position. And,
it goes to show you, like,
because that's the IRL proximity, right?
Well, the IRL stuff is very important.
It's important
when someone's next to you. You're like, I disagree with you. Here's why. But I have to navigate it in a way where you don't want to punch me.
Yeah,
but that's also
within proximity of being punched. The Illuminati did a great job. They were like, no women, and then they took over the world. See, that's how much men can get done if they don't allow women into their spaces. They can go, we can conquer the world. Conquer the world.
Masons. Yeah,
the Masons, exactly. Well, we look at these groups as nefarious, but the only way you even get to be nefarious is if you don't have women involved.
I think
if you recall the verses that we talked about, it talks that it's going to be calling the angels of all corners of the world to earth, I guess, to call the people before Christ comes. So to me, there's some kind of parable here. They're recreating it with astrotheology or something. I don't know what they're doing to the modern man, but this is why they named it, I think, 3i Atlas. I'll leave it up to interpretation. I'll leave it up to interpretation for you guys. This is just this SCP stuff. So this is where it gets into the nitty-gritty. And it stops being fun, because up until this point, it was just conjecture. But then we went to look for the science that would back up the number coding that we found. We found all the patents that are coded with 8293 that related to psionics and the mind control. Directed energy weapon, target individual patents, US 3393279. Listening and incorporated allows information to be remotely conveyed to subject via electromagnetic waves.
That's exactly what we just watched on that SCP thing. And there was something else that came up recently about this sort of a thing. But yeah, we're talking sort of voice to skull technology or voice of God technology, or but all of this sort of there it is, voice to skull. Yeah. man.
And it's more than that. The first episode we did, me and Subliminal of Disagree to Agree, we watched a video where not only can they remotely send voices to you, they can remotely shut down sections of your brain. They can remotely make you fall asleep. They can remotely make you paralyze you. They don't need to be in the room. There's nothing there. You don't need a chip planted in your brain for them to remotely influence your emotions.
Yeah,
this is exactly what we've been researching lately when we were talking to
Austin
and he's talking about that patent for the technology to emit a frequency through a house phone,
right,
and to put an individual in a catatonic state that's like sub programming, like when they're open to suggestibility or things of that nature.
Oh, look at it.
They're saying that this is even beyond that, though.
Well, because I'm sure that was years ago. Now
you
they're
got to
just
pick up a phone then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So now
you don't need to pick up the phone. They could beam that frequency down to you from a satellite in the sky.
Yeah, well, what we were talking about is that's Project Artichoke, 1953 stuff. So
yeah, so by now they've refined it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 53. Yeah, there you go.
1953, 953. Come on.
It's ridiculous. It's absurd. It's like they want us to find it. So voice to skull, the frequency they use is 3,500 hertz. The directed energy.
Wait. Can I ask you something? This is what's on my mind. And I know like all things are possible, right? But of the population that's capable of like high level critical thinking and scrutinizing in their own kind of research, things like this. Could it be that this would be an apt solution to deceive those people? You have to leave breadcrumbs. I'm not saying they don't have access to this sort of technology, but when we get into this gets really like kind of dark, right? And then it gives them this air of omnipotent, omnipresent, all-knowing, all-powerful kind of, which I am hesitant to attribute to anybody. But still, I recognize that this sort of technology exists. But could this not be the same way I think QAnon was there for I don't want to call these people stupid, people that believed QAnon. I think they're actually a cut above the average moron. You don't have to worry too much about the lemmings who are just asleep and will, step left, step right when you tell them to. That programming that controls, let's say, the left is already there. That's through whatever, Netflix and all that. You have to account for the people above them, and then what percentage of the population, a very small percentage of the population that's capable of high level critical thinking. We call them conspiracy theorists. That's a terminology coined to dismiss anybody looking into the JFK assassination. Remove that, and what are you left with? High level skeptical critical thinkers. You find this. Is there any room in your thoughts that this could be that? Because if you can convince people of this sort of thing, what if something does happen? What if, let's say, what if Jesus returns and speaks? And then what? The people that are capable of high-level critical thinking go, U.S. patent 339-3279, voice to skull technology. This is what's happening. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah. All right. This directly leads to the huge question I had, and I had been saving up for you guys, and I think I'm going to drop it now.
Well, hold on, wait, don't stop it now because Top just left to go make a pee.
Top took off.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. But okay, so
hold that thought.
Kick that around a little bit though. Is this something that you've entertained in your own mind?
Yeah. I think I don't think my answer is the same as Eamon's. I think my answer is you got to put discernment, all your skill points into discernment right now.
Yeah, dude, that's kind of how I'm feeling because I've said it on the show before. It's like we're moving into a space, let's just say with AI in general, like AI, everything is so hard to tell if it's real. You look at the Charlie Kirk assassination, and even that is got a certain amount of wiggle room for interpretation. I believe that he was shot, but I don't begrudge people that are like, is that even really what happened here? Because everything is so hard to pin down where the truth is. And I think going forward, the only thing that you have on your side as reality becomes so, shout out to Shane Cashman, this idea of post-reality becomes so distorted and so manipulated and so fabricated. Really, all you might have in your corner is discernment, is the Holy Spirit, because you're going to need something almost supernatural to be able to cut through what technology can do.
Yeah.
Absolutely, dude.
I
Because
mean, yeah. So go
ahead, dude.
ahead.
Go ahead, Eamon. Go ahead, dude.
Well,
I have a lot to say, sir.
Charlie Kirk thing in particular, and it's like you probably noticed it immediately too. But like the courtyard's in the shape of a menorah. It's in the shape of the damn candle, right? And
Yeah.
he's the centerpiece, the first ultimate sacrifice
And,
to
you
start
know, and
the
Raven, let
holiday,
me
right?
say before we finish the presentation, you're right on top of this. Whether you're looking at it or not, I think you're right on the ball too. So you're right there.
It's weird times, man, because I find myself unable to say anything for certain. You know, I've been advocating for people just not really. It's like it almost doesn't matter who killed Charlie Kirk, and I know that'll upset people. But what really matters right now is which way the lemmings are moving. And if you find yourself moving in the same direction as the lemmings, you need to stop and reassess. And
Yeah.
so the only advice that I've been giving, and I don't even know if it's good advice because I understand that the things that are ailing us are statistical facts. But even when you know, like Sam Hyde makes this video, and I find it very difficult to disagree with Sam Hyde in this video. He's talking about, you know, get a gun, protect yourself, protect your family. These people think it's funny when you die. And it's like, it's all of that is true. But I think the one thing that is kind of almost at the core of all of my decision making is the crowd. What is the crowd doing? I can't do what the crowd is doing. And even if the crowd is vindicated, you know, the truth is a hell of a weapon. If you can create true circumstances for the crowd to react to, and then thereby they are vindicated, you know, man, that's tempting. Man,
Yeah.
it's tempting to go in that direction. So I don't even know if I'm giving people the direct. I'm just telling you like what I feel, what I would do. Not that I'm a source of anything that anybody should do, you know. But in these kind of insane times, it's like I feel compelled to say it. It's like, look at the crowd, man. It doesn't matter who killed Charlie Kirk. What matters is the fallout. What matters are the things, the domino pieces that start to fall because of the death of Charlie Kirk, and you need to make sure that you're not moving in a way that feels very much like some unseen hand is guiding you in that way. I see you've moved over here, King James 21st century. What are we looking at here?
Oh, just to get our eyes off of the sad stuff for a second.
Oh, okay,
Just
okay.
until-
Well,
yeah,
what do
just-
you guys think about that though? This idea of like, even though it's a vindicated cause, maybe you shouldn't be moving in that direction.
Eamon?
It's tough, you know. When I think about it, and ultimately I have to agree with you. Yeah. Like who killed Charlie Kirk really doesn't matter, but I will say it really does matter to the person who's right now in custody for it. So it really does matter to that person. It really does matter that his entire family and it seems like his entire support group pulled the rug out from under him. I know it wasn't. I know in my heart, right? Like I guess my gut says it wasn't that guy. But again, like you're spot on. It's all about like discernment, and it's all about reading the crowd, right? Because they right now what they want to turn Charlie Kirk into is a martyr for Israel. They want to turn Charlie into a martyr for the political right. They want to turn him into a martyr for the conservative movement, and by all means, they have. Like now, like at this point, right? We get a whole bunch of Twitter posts and Instagram videos about these leftists who got fired from their job for acting a fool.
Yeah,
right?
and it's you know, it's true. The top just returned. I think he was pooping. And apparently they have we've reached a point where they're going to ask an important question. It was what they were going to ask earlier, but I was just saying that on the topic of this whole Charlie thing, even though, you know, you get that compelling video from Sam Hyde, and all of it's true and all of the things that ail us are true, I feel compelled to not move in the direction of the crowd. But what is this question that you wanted to ask? Let's get to that.
Raven, Top, it's a multifaceted question. How many people do you think need to disappear for the entire world to believe that a rapture happened?
Oh, that's an interesting question. How many people do you think need to disappear? I would say
For the entire world to believe it.
Generally, we were talking about the lower intelligence, the common man, like the non-analytical, the non-analyzer type crowd.
Oh,
and
I think
then
that
of course the midwit crowd, right?
Well, that's the incorrect way to look at it. I think that you know that bell curve of let's say 135 IQ plus and then 90 IQ, and they're agreeing. Yeah, those are gonna be the people who understand the rapture. The people in the middle
are not gonna
will not understand.
Yeah, because I think what sparked this is I was saying like certain things like QAnon, I don't think are for idiots. I think they're for just above idiots. They have to have layers of programming. The idiots are going to subscribe to the leftist ideology, and they're going to do whatever Netflix and tells them, right? That's pretty easy. But then you need something for the people that are critical thinkers, and then you need something for the most critical thinkers. So what I was suggesting is they're showing us these patents, this voice to skull technology. I said, is there any part of you that suspects these are breadcrumbs left for the most critically thinking of us, so that when, let's say, like Jesus actually does return and we hear the voice of God in our head, we remember patent, 59239, whatever the hell, and we go voice to skull technology. Because remember, before you left, I was saying I hesitate to attribute this level of power to them, even though I know this technology exists. So do you think that there's a level of programming that's meant for us in the shape of these breadcrumbs that we call conspiracies may actually be leading us astray? We might look at this and attribute this all to MK Ultra programming and some satellite in the sky, when it may actually be the return of Jesus Christ. And that is a difficult question, and that's what provoked this question.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me ask the actual question. If the rapture is the sudden and immediate taking of believers, and let's say we have some crazy satellites with directed energy weapons and all sorts of mind-altering capabilities up in the sky on balloons, right? What's the difference from an outside perspective of someone getting taken up by a rapture and someone getting to a crisp?
Yeah, to the undiscerning, or even if you had discernment, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Wouldn't be able to tell.
You wouldn't be able to tell.
Wouldn't be able to tell.
We think that's what they're playing off of. Unfortunately, that's exactly what they're playing off of. And unfortunately, the way that these machines work, it doesn't matter how smart you are or your IQ, doesn't work off of brain electrical waves. How do I put this? They control the electrical waves in your brain. They do this, and they have something. They're playing 5D chess, and I think that's one of the dog whistles, because they, in these documents that I collected, the directed energy weapons as an option for strategic escalation or de-escalation. They describe something called the 5Ds of directed energy weapons: deny, degrade, disrupt, deceive, or destroy, which would qualify what you just said right now. We would qualify under one of those. Either we're being denied information, degraded information,
we're degraded emotionally, degraded socially, degraded culturally.
It almost feels like you need to remove yourself from this system and depend solely on, that voice that speaks to you, that ideally is the Holy Spirit, because we've gotten to the point where we're so saturated with information. I almost feel as though, even me on this show, like it's the point of diminishing returns. Like I know too much. Thank God I can't remember 2/3 of what I've learned throughout my life.
Dangerously retarded.
Yeah, because it would be a lot worse. There's a point where you're so saturated with information that all of it's hard to parse it and place it, and you're faced with too many potentialities. And that's almost, I think, where we are, especially as conspiracy theorists. I
think the reality is that they can do these things. I don't think that they can do them to the scope that they claim. So
no.
if there is
No.
going to be a rapture, there's going to be something well televised and prompted that mimics it on a small scale.
Yes.
Nuclear bombs.
I hate to bring him up because I know we all have the same feelings about him. But Cliff
Cliff
High
High.
said there would be an event
Yeah.
in the Bible Belt. And think
Yeah.
about the Bible Belt. All you would need is the Bible Belt.
The 33rd
Yeah.
parallel. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is it
Well, it is.
really?
And it's in the video
where-
that it can't fire below the 23rd parallel, so it has to just above that. Yeah. And
That's where
aim
you
and,
do it.
aim and deduce. That's
where
all
you
it would
do it.
take. It would just take a very specific location, maybe whatever Inspector Gadget 2 shows. The most believing Christians in that area would only get raptured because everyone else just didn't believe hard enough, is what Eamon
See,
suggested.
my thing though is right now I can tell that they are spoon feeding us conspiracy. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
almost seems like they're priming the landscape for if a rapture did happen, everybody who would finally be forced to ask questions would be led to all the things we're talking about now, and they would come to the conclusion that it was, either some sort of alien thing or some sort of satellite thing or what have you. And honestly, that kind of gives me an answer for the why. Why are we being spoon-fed conspiracies right now?
I think to speak on that, the Bible Belt thing, where people will be confused on if they were left behind, if there was a rapture. It's if you don't see a sweeping totality of the entire world, and it's just like these things are just happening in pockets, we have to keep in mind about how these principalities and dominions work in localities. So they're going to be working in small spots, but not omnipotent, not all over the place. So I think if we see like small events happening, be aware, be suspicious of what it is.
Yeah, and honestly, if we're getting raptured, but it's only happening in the Bible Belt, like there are believing Christians in the Northeast, right? There are believing Christians in Canada.
Yeah, if you could find it downs,
There's even a
They're
couple in
Down syndrome
California.
people.
There's even a couple
There's like
in California.
there's like 2 and 3 in California. So I think that'll be a good indicator that maybe something actually is wrong, because Christians don't only exist in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
Good Christians don't only exist in the Bible Belt. Man, that is very, but now I'm just to the point where, like I said, I'm almost useless to people because I have too much knocking around in my head. And all I could tell you is like, don't go where the crowd goes.
Right.
Like you would think that I would have something intellectual or profound to say. I could regurgitate some information. As Eamon Rat often points out, I would do it factually incorrect. I would fudge all of the actual details of the thing. But I like to think that the core of the message would still be there. But really all I have for you is my mind would go, it's too much. And I would be left with, don't go where the crowd goes. Go away from the direction that the people are moving in. Even if you think those people are like your people, which is like the Twitter crowd is a sub section of humanity that is a little bit more on the ball, but still not enough. And when those people all move in one direction, you have to stop. You gotta go. I'm not saying in the opposite, but in some ways, yeah. Like I said yesterday, when they tell you that they've identified an enemy, I think it's time to look inward. And people could go like, Owen Benjamin says to kill the in your own heart. But I think almost more importantly is where we're going. Like I said yesterday, we're going to need strong leaders. So you better start to kill off that in you that sucks, that is weak, that is idiotic. Look inward, because if they've identified an enemy, that means we're going to war. And if we're going to war, we need strong people. Better to focus on yourself than it is fighting this enemy, because the people around you are going to need you
right now. I'll just wait on Jesus to come take me out of what war? The war that he literally never took Israel out of.